And coming up in this week's episode, we get off the Nantes-Brest Canal and onto the Loire River.
And away we go, out onto the Loire.
And we get to see some of those Jules Verne creations in Nantes. And then we find a house adrift in the river. Unbelievable!
Floating manor house.
And as the estuary widens, the wind picks up and it starts getting a bit choppy.
Oh, Leslie's getting thrown around like a pea in a pod.
We cross under a massive bridge.
Le Pont de Saint-Nazaire. And that's the sea.
And then the following day,
We're going out to sea. Wonderful. Feel some waves underneath us. Oh, mate. Looking straight into the sun. Into the blazing sun.
we've been dreaming about this trip for quite a long time before, Les and I, and here we are at last, on the sea on our way to Saint-Malo, and then to join the canals of Brittany, and eventually the Canal de la Garonne and the Canal du Midi, all the way to the Mediterranean Sea.
Keeping us on the straight and narrow.
This was a big move, moving away from the relative safety of the canals out onto the open river, the River Loire.
And away we go, out onto the Loire. Unbelievable stuff. We've made it. We've made it to the river, the Loire, and it's still coming in. So, oh, it's a big old river, this one, buddy. Hey, big old river, this one.
Everything was bigger, high-rise buildings, wide and deep water.
About 6 meters of water. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's more like it. And with this much water, we let the keel down, let the rudder down, put the automatic pilot on. Hey!
It's not easy to reconcile what you're seeing when you first arrive here. Don't forget, we come from the quiet backwaters of the Brittany canals. And now we find ourselves here in Nantes, which used to be the capital of Brittany. A place steeped in history. Because this was, in fact, they say, where the French Revolution started. But nothing could have prepared us for what we saw here. I haven't fully researched the history about this house, but I have included the name so that you can look it up if you want to. I certainly will do. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Look out to the left, Les. Look out to the left. Floating manor house. We've got a great big barge coming up behind us too.
As we progressed down the estuary towards Saint-Nazaire, the winds built and the waves on the water built as well.
See how the bow is going up and down?
I was concerned that it might frighten Les, or at least be uncomfortable, but, well, he just took it in his stride.
Oh, Leslie's getting thrown around like a pea in a pod.
This in the sun, one leg in the sun. Excuse me.
See how much it's moving around.
Eh?
But we've got the autopilot on, that's great. It's doing a great job.
Oh, here we go.
See some white horses out there, and this is only the river. Still, never mind, we're making good progress. Boats are made for this kind of stuff, so it's not a problem for the boat, even if it is uncomfortable for us. Luckily, the GPS is saying 6 or 7 knots, so we've got a good couple of knots of river stream helping us along, which means we're making good progress.
We battled through choppy water like that for a good hour. And then, as the tide turned, the waters calmed down and we were able to relax a bit and enjoy the view ahead.
Well, there we are. Le Pont de Saint-Nazaire. Yay! Well, as they say in some quarters, we are some clever bastards. Look where we are. And that's the sea. We're going out to sea. Wonderful. Feel some waves underneath us. Goodbye, Saint-Nazaire. Saint-Nazaire, well, sorry, but not very pretty. Not very pretty. But no, the port of Saint-Nazaire is not for little boats like this, industrial. But they're friendly enough. Just told me not to come back. No, they didn't. Only joking. But anyway, made it feel like that. Never mind. Ah, now there's a cardinal. Yellow over black, South Cardinal. Stay on the south side of me, which we are, on the south side of him. We're just enjoying a nice cup of tea, right, Leslie? And then all of a sudden,
A big boat comes to rescue.
yeah, the big boy coming up. He's a big boy.
Block of flats in it, the what's name room.
Yeah. We're not going that way. We're going out into the Bay of Biscay. This way. This way, with the big boys. We're going to play with the big boys. Well, some days you get good, some days not so good. We had thunder last night and the wind's due to pick up this afternoon, so we had an early getaway. There's the Cardinal. Stay south of me. And we are south, so that's good. Well, this is all getting interesting. I haven't got much battery, so I'm not going to waste much time. We're just by the island of Saint-Oleron, port of Saint-Denis d'Oléron, and we've got some pretty interesting water here, quite shallow, so we're staying well away from that cardinal over there, and I can show you why, because just by the side of it there's a wreck, exposed wreck, and you can see the waves breaking around it. Reminds me of Wesel. See what I mean? That's a good old swell. We're on our last leg. Not on our last legs, we're on the last leg. Going to the Gironde. We're not far away now, so we're just having a little snack. And why not? Snack plus. Sea colour's changing from green to blue. Well, what do you know? What's that mean? Is it the water from the Gironde that makes a difference? Or we're in the blue? Well, this, believe it or not, is an estuary. And it's one of the biggest estuaries in the world. That's the other end of it, over there. It's the Gironde. And over there is America. Well, who'd have thought it? We've made it this far.
We had indeed made it this far, and it had not been without its moments. You see, 2 years previously, Les had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and by this time it was starting to take effect. But we coped, and we managed quite well. Join us again next week as we make our way down to Bordeaux, where we are met by 3 of our French friends who stayed with us on board for the trip from Bordeaux to Toulouse. Thanks for watching. It means a lot to me as I reflect on the great times that I had with Les. We'll see you next time.